So welcome everybody to another episode of the Brewmasters Club cast. Here is what you have to look forward to in tonight's episode.
I'm pretty sure if I became a psychiatrist or a counselor of some sorts, I would have had 10 people jump off the bridge this week.
Well, it's a good thing you're not one of those.
Yeah, I'm not even... Guys, I kicked over a glass bowl, kicked it right off the table. It shattered everywhere. It was one of those...
It's okay.
What were your feet doing on the table? You said you kicked it off of the table.
No, the cord was plugged in.
I
was
practicing his kicks. Not kicks.
Fell over and...
Laos, have you not seen Dragon Ball Z?
You crazy mother.
Welcome, craft beer. My name is Donnie. This is the official podcast of the Brewmasters Club, Craft Brews Geek News, where we talk about national stories, local flavors, and our favorite geeky nuggets of pop culture. Who could be breathing the mic? No one else besides Ryan. How are you, Brood Boy?
That wasn't me.
No, it's okay. How are you, bud?
It really wasn't me. I have to see. I'm just the root of all the problems.
You're fine. You're fine. You're the brood of all problems. What's going on?
I am the brood of all problems, and I'm doing as best as I can. I'm still alive. Let's put it that way.
Yes, you are. We are so thankful for that. Myself and Mr. Lousman. How are you, buddy?
Hey, coming in off the top ropes. I'm good.
That's good.
Yes.
That's good. We've had a great start, and we are about a half hour late, so we're going to go fast, real fast. But that's all right. We got a lot to talk about. This is actually the last episode before Florida Craft Beer Day, so we've got a lot to cover, and we've got a lot to talk about in terms of Florida Craft Beer Day. It's exciting, and we've got the whole agenda. But before we get into that, as we always start our episodes with the little popular segment we call "What Are You Drinking? What Are You Going to Drink?" Mr. Lousman, I know that you only have one beer this evening to try or to sample or to talk about, so please start us off.
So I actually I wanted to bring two, but I ended up just having the one remaining, and it is the Sierra Nevada Hop Bullet double IPA. And I've actually seen the other one I actually wanted to bring as well was also Sierra Nevada. So Sierra Nevada is really pumping them out these days. I don't know if this was
It's direct correlation to them being our unofficial sponsor, obviously.
I mean, clearly it is, but yeah, but of course. But yeah, no, I was very impressed with this. I had a 6-pack of it like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I was like, this needs to stick around. So very, very smooth in terms of an IPA. Kind of takes a much smoother approach than their Torpedo. Extremely drinkable when it's been hot, when it's been cold. So yeah, I highly recommend it.
Fantastic. No, I love it, man. And Sierra Nevada, as we all know, we do love most of what they do. Ryan, I'm not sure what you got. I know that you had a quite the haul from your event this weekend, but if you don't mind, or if you want to, go for it. Tell me, because I got one that's special, but it's only special because we'll be pouring a lot of it at Florida Craft Beer Day, and we've actually sampled this before. I know Lousman has, and I did too, but you want to go first?
Yeah, I think I will. I won't get too much into it now, but I will in a little bit. But I'm actually drinking on Swamp Head's Swamp Fest right now.
You love Swamp Head though, don't you? Because weren't they the ones that you guys visited on the way out of town as you were evacuating the hurricane?
Yeah, that was actually the second or third time that we had visited that brewery. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoy their beers. They usually do a really good job. I'm not sure. I was trying to find information on this beer because this beer bottle does not have a label to it. So it's hard to really figure out what style it is. It's sort of sweet, which I'm not sure if that's intended, but it's overall a decent beer. I would rate it probably 3.2 if I had to guess, but not for a bad reason other than it's not hitting my palate the way I want it to. So yeah, that's really all I can say about that.
3.2, hopefully out of 5.
Yeah. Out of 5. Yeah, no, it's definitely a very
15 actually.
Yeah,
score
out of 100.
Out of 100.
No, I'm not sure what type of style it's supposed to be. It's just very sweet, and I won't, like I said, I'll try not to get into too much. But I was at an event this weekend talking to some beer judges, and they said that sometimes you can taste a sweetness in beer that almost tastes like unfermented malt, and sometimes that could mean that the fermentation was not allowed to fully take place, and that there's still unfermented malt in the beer, which can give off that sweet flavor. Now, I'm not saying that that's the case for this beer. It could be intended to be that way. There's no description that I can go off of, but it's just got that sweetness that I tasted similarly to another unfermented beer this past weekend. So yeah, learned a couple things from some judges. So
nice. Wait, you actually tried an unfermented beer? You can't just gloss over that.
Well, when I say unfermented, it was in a particular style that is supposed to take a little bit longer in process. I forget which beer it was, but the way that the judge described it was still being sweet and almost, not multi-characteristic, but wort, still like wort.
Yeah, flavor like a wort.
The flavor like a wort. So I went back because they didn't have access to where the bottles were. I did. And I went and I tried it just to see what he was talking about. And sure enough, the way he described it fit in line with the similarities of how this beer is right now. So it could just be that they intended it to be something else, but didn't give it long enough, or they brewed it too quickly and didn't let it fully take place. So like they didn't let the yeast do their job.
Well, I want to immediately that is interesting, and of course that's why it would taste that sweet if the yeast didn't get to do its job. So, all right, well, let's move on. But before we do, I want to get to mine. And of course, what I brought was my version of the Resilience. And I'm only having this because we're going to have this at Florida Craft Beer Day on Friday for everybody to enjoy. But this is the last one of the batch, which, as you know, Ryan, when you homebrew and you've got half a beer in here, you can't, I wouldn't serve this to anybody expecting for this to be an all-star. So I'm drinking it myself. And I only, again, this was at my own dismay, because I totally forgot to put my Saison in the fridge yesterday. So I'm not going to drink it warm. It just came out of the closet. But my Saison is also ready. So in my fridge right now, I've got a Saison, IPA, a Belgian, and a stout and a porter. 5 beers that I brewed. It's incredible. It's an incredible feeling. But let's try the Resilience now. Let's see if this bad boy's got anything left in there. Whoop.
Yeah.
It certainly does. So, that was a good sign.
Ooh, look at that head. No, in a good way.
Anyways, yeah. So yeah, no, it looks good. The color is the same. It's still just this kind of this amber darkness that it had. It looks again that like almost Bach kind of. I don't know. It's almost like Newcastle in color, but not quite. So I don't know. But anyways,
not quite
good.
As brown, more red.
Smells good, tastes right. So you can tell me, Ryan, on Friday when we all head over to Craft Life for Florida Craft Beer Day. But let's get in that in a second. In the meantime, after this awesome segment, Ryan, kick us off with your episode. What you were, tell us about the event that you were at, Ryan.
So I had the distinctive pleasure of being a beer steward at the Best Florida Beer event this past weekend. And when I say event, it was an event, but it wasn't an open event. It was an open event to the point of there were invited judges or volunteered judges and volunteers to steward to bring the beers to the judges. And I volunteered Saturday morning and did the 7:30 to like maybe 1:30, 2 o'clock shift. And Sunday afternoon from 12:30 till, oh gosh, what time I left there after sundown.
Hold on. This is super relevant because you were a beer steward and me and Laos were just literally talking about Downton Abbey and how Jenny is like obsessed with the show right now. So what you're saying is they gave you some quarters to live in and you got to mill around with all the servants.
Well, first off, Ashley's a big Downton Abbey fan, so hopefully that's what they don't resort to watching this weekend. Second off, stewards as in not butlers, but
were you the valet or Clarkson?
Sure, I was the head valet.
Clarkson. You were Kelly Clarkson and Laos was the redhead.
What? Yes, we'll go with that. Basically my job was to take the beers that were in my category, and serve them to Lady Brantham. Got it. And I had 6 judges to serve to, but it was a pair of judges. So even though there were 6, there was 3 pairs, and not one pair of judges actually tried the same beer. So I would give one beer to one set, one beer to the next, one beer to the next. When one set was done, go back, grab a completely different beer. Otherwise, they would have been hammered. There was like 30 beers in my category first round. And my whole job was to make sure that the judges scored accurately, meaning they filled in all the blanks and gave honest feedback. And I'll get into and remind me about the feedback part here in a second, Donnie, because I think there's a good little thing to talk about with that. And then I also had to record all of the scores on a sheet and then average it out and give best points and total points. And once all of that was done, each set of judges selected 3 beers or 2 beers that they thought would make it well into the next round. And then those beers would be pulled and put it into another room. You know, the rest of the groups were finishing up all the other styles of beer. So just stop me if you have any questions as I'm talking, please, like, go for it. You know, I don't want to sound like I'm just rambling on for no reason. But it was really intriguing to see the judges, and it wasn't like they were just sitting there at the tables drinking beer. No, these guys and girls or women, ladies, whatever.
They're acting like lords of the house, right?
No, it was like it was like they were in a room playing chess. Like,
okay. So you were like A/B testing, like, hey, you get this one. It's like the old Kool-Aid test or Coke Pepsi, where like you don't know what was in the cup. They were just tasting it just to like honestly blind taste test it.
To them, it was a blind taste test. To us, we knew what beers we were serving the judges because we had score sheets. We didn't necessarily know by name, but we had this is a made up category. Category 391, subcategory 15 beer, whatever. So that's how we put it on the sheet to keep track. And then they have an internal database with all the beer entries and how they're logged. So, but it was really intriguing to watch them. It was a complete blind taste. So they had no idea. It was just in a cup this big. All they saw was the beer and the color and the smell.
Well, and I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but you actually had a chance to speak with somebody there at the competition, and this was purely production grade beer that you were sampling, handing out.
The beers that were in this competition were strictly from breweries in the state of Florida. That is correct. They have a homebrew competition coming up, which I'm stewarding at. I'm not going to turn down another stewarding position, to be honest with you. And we'll get into that later. But
I got it, Carson. Keep going.
Yeah. But yeah, strictly, craft beer breweries from across the state of Florida. Over 850 entries.
Wow.
All of which had to turn in at least 3 to 4 beers of that specific entry. So you do the math on that. Close to 4,000 beers. Sounds together.
Like Great American Beer Fest. Ka-ching.
Ka-ching.
That was a great time.
Oh,
except there were no lines.
No, that's neat. But really, so was it? Were people watching, or was it just like a room full of judges that were just sampling, and you were literally just running back and forth with empty bottles and beers?
You nailed it. Well, the beers actually stayed behind a closed off area because, again, the judges couldn't see the bottles.
Right.
The only spectators to this were the people that were running it. Was maybe 5 to 7 people, and the stewards that were bringing all the judges beer. Everybody else that was there were judges in this back room of Coppertails Brewery. And they're literally sitting on, opened foldable tables, sitting across from one another. The only communication that they had, that was the really interesting part. I've never seen anything like it. It wasn't like they were at a bar. They knew they were drinking beer, but they were there to judge. And like why I said it was a chess match is because it was so quiet. It was so quiet as they were literally putting the beer into their mouth to taste it, swirl it around, get all the flavor profiles, try to detect what acidity levels were at. And I learned a couple of terms like vaginal. I had no idea what the word meant.
You should get that checked out.
Well, yeah, because I wrote down a comment that one of the beers was vaginal, and when I turned in the sheet, one of the ladies thought it said vaginal. I was like, no, it doesn't taste vaginal.
She's like, listen,
it's vaginal.
This isn't the lady doctor. Please move along.
Exactly. I was like, no, please. But I forget which beer that actually was. But vaginal turns out that it gives off a sort of vegetable-like flavor, and that comes from a certain thing. There was another term, I can't remember what it was, but it made it taste and smell like the beer was buttered popcorn, and that's an off flavor.
Dextrocetafil is terrible.
So there you go.
I don't know if that's right. I don't remember that, but that's from my Anheuser-Busch days. If you ever have you walk up to a bar. We've talked about this before early on in the podcast days. If you go up to a bar and you get a Budweiser, and it's like one of those $1 for buds or domestic drafts on Sunday or whatever it is, and you taste the beer, and first off, the head is flat. The bubbles when they are there are huge and they dissipate quickly, and then what you're left with is a beer that looks flat, but when you taste it, It has that butter popcorn flavor to it. You
Yeah.
spit that beer out immediately and do not get another one unless it's in a bottle, because what that means is that is the leftover remnants from not cleaning your lines regularly has affected the beer that's coming through the lines, and you're getting little pieces of old dirt beer sediment, and it tastes. I recall it being something along the lines of dextrocetaphil. I'll probably get ridiculed because that's not what it is called, but that's what I remember. So it's nasty, but I remember that one for sure.
Yeah, it definitely sounded familiar to or similar to what you said with the D word there, dextrocetaphil. But I learned a lot from these judges, and that was pretty cool. That some of them I talked to for a few minutes, and they literally opened up about, like I said, vaginal and the other thing, and I got to pick up on that. But to watch them, it was really kind of crazy. Like I said, they were just breaking down all the elements, and then they would have conversation afterwards, and some like they literally take it very, very seriously. I would go over there and I'd be like, "Hey, you guys ready for the score and the next beer?" No, a couple more minutes. We need to talk this out, kind of thing. Or one guy was in such control, in a good way, a positive way. He was like, "Yeah, let's not talk about this right this second. I need to process it." So he was really taking this job very seriously, which I found very interesting.
Yeah, two things. And last one, I'm sorry, jump in if you need to. But what was this event called? Where was it? When was it? Why was it?
Yeah,
let's go over that first, because you just jumped right into it. And then
I thought I said it was. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. First thing, hit that first.
It was the best Florida beer event at Coppertail Brewing this past weekend. So I forget the dates, but I think it was March 7th and March 8th. Excuse me, February 7th and February 8th.
It's like it wasn't next
Get ahead
month.
of myself.
Get into the future.
And the reason the event was held is because all of the first place beer, I think all the first place and maybe some of the second place or third place, all the beers that placed will be at the Brewers Ball coming up in a few weeks. So that's why they had this event. It's a very prestigious event, which, Donnie, I'm not sure at some point you might play some of the audio. It's not just an event that is geared towards telling everybody who won the best beer.
Yeah, it seems like a backroom event, right? Where you just get a panel of experts that come in and kind of analyze.
Right. And I want to say more, but I also want to say it in regards to what's on the. You can edit this part out.
Yeah, well, I'll play.
Like where are you leading me, Donnie? That's what I want to know. Where are you leading me?
My second question was, what do those people do for a living? Are they literally beer judges?
Everything. No, well, a vast majority of the judges are actually people that I knew from breweries.
That's what I'm saying. I would have loved to have been there just to glad hand those guys, because I bet there's a bunch of them that we knew.
Absolutely. Do you want me to rattle off a few? I mean, I'm happy to. I just don't. Yeah. Well, I don't know what the do's and don'ts are of the thing, and then I'm sure you can tell by the interview. I don't know what you can say, what you can't say. Well, why don't you, just at this point,
why don't you tee up? You've referenced this interview a few times, and what I'll do is once you tee up this interview here, I'll play a few minutes.
Yeah. So I during this event, I got a chance at the end to speak with Jason, and he is the assistant head brewer at Coppertail. Excuse me, back up. He's the assistant head brewer at Crooked Thumb. Both started with a C. It got mixed up.
It's got to be the butcher's ass.
he's a.
How do we always bring up that Tommy Boy reference? It's always the butcher's ass. No, my fist. Wait, my face.
He's a really genuine guy, and he put on a heck of an organizational show with this whole event. He's very passionate about beer. So one of the cool things that we talked about, besides Jason's passion for beer, is the reason for this event. Like I said earlier, it's not just about the medals, but he explained a little bit more that it's about craft beer as a whole and making sure that beer is being made properly for all of our drinking pleasures. Just what he expressed was, when the judges write down their comments, they're not just writing down scores, they're writing down comments. And all of the comments that were written for that specific beer goes back to that brewery so that they can review those comments. And they can make sure that they're taking the time with their beer to make it better. And I thought that was really kind of a cool thing to discuss. And he went into greater detail, but he was very passionate about making sure that beer was kept in check and beer was continually perfected by people that knew what to look for to make it better.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And that's what we always talk about being Because we say all the time that we could have a brewery on every corner, and that'd be great, and it would be so much fun. And in places like the UK and overseas, they do that. But the key that we always do discuss is that you have to be unique, different, and produce a quality product. So having this beer fest for people that are trying to improve or tell you or provide criticism, good or bad, about your beer is like the best kind of beer fest there is, because you can throw a 10 up and pour beer at a beer fest. We've done it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're growing because of it. So I think that, to your point, that is a valid valid way to improve, which is admirable. But we'll play the clip and hear that.
We're always talking about making sure that places that we get craft beer from outside of beer breweries, the bottle date, this, that, and the other, is the distribution company handling it properly and making sure that everything's refrigerated properly so that the beer doesn't spoil. But it was neat to hear him talk about the judges and their perspectives and what it does. I thought it was pretty cool. Went beyond just, I got a medal. Well, you got a medal for the one beer you submitted, but what about the 5 others you submitted? These need work, Yeah,
I mean, I think that also gives more credibility too, because again, what'd you think of our beer? Well, me and my bros decided to buy tickets to the beer fest, and by then they've had like 8 beers and they're not really giving. Well, I really drink Bud Light mostly, but this is fun too. It's like, okay, that's not really criticism, but when it's like, hey, the beer's got more of a malty or a vagina flavor or whatever you said, that's stuff that sounds worse. But you want VeggieTales. Got it. When it's got a VeggieTales flavor, you want to improve it. Or I would, if I was a master of my craft, or even trying to be a master of my craft, which I am not, specifically in podcasting. But I would want to hear that feedback from those that really value it, or that I value.
Good afternoon, craft beer. This is your one and only Brood Boy 813 coming live from the Best Florida Beer Pro Comp 2019 at Coppertail, and I am joined with a great guy. His name is Jason. He is the assistant brewer at Crooked Thumb, and also one of the guys that's making this competition possible this year. Jason, how we're now day 2, everything's over. How are you feeling about the way that this event's going? And tell us a little bit about what goes into the production for Best Florida Beer.
Hey guys, how's it going? This is an exciting year for us. It's our largest competition ever. We ended up with about 824 entries.
Oh my God!
Yeah, it's huge. From beers all around the state. With some really fantastic beers and surprises. It's going to be a really great award ceremony at Brewers Ball coming up on March 3rd. Get your tickets now.
Absolutely.
So this competition's been going on a little over 10 or 12 years now, and Best Florida Beer is about 18 years old. We started as a organization as a way for home brewers to recognize the best in professional breweries around the state. They started with 45 entries that first year.
Just from home brewing?
From home brewing.
Not from like major breweries or anything like that, because it was probably still small in its infancy. So
it was small in its infancy with the home brewers, and then they wanted to start recognizing the professionals.
Okay.
So that first year was 45 entries.
Wow.
Mostly Tampa, and then a couple Miami and Jacksonville that were around back then.
Okay. So from all those years ago when I started with homebrewers now to over almost 900 entries, that's a big difference. And now it's not just homebrews, right? Like people that submitted their beers, those weren't just homebrewers. These were major breweries throughout the state of Florida, or even smaller, depending on where they're located.
So this competition.
What was the criteria?
This competition's only open to professional breweries.
Okay.
And it's judged by their peers. So our judges were about 90% professionals this year.
Yes.
Which is an increase. I think we were about 3/4 pro last year. And I find it very important to have that professional base of judges because it's peer review.
Right.
We feel that the knowledge base and the skills of BJCP judges is absolutely vital. However, we want them to guide the professionals in the way that they judge the beer. For the judges, we want this to be a competition that the pros have their beers judged by their peers. We see that need for peer review to be important. because professionals have a way of seeing beers slightly different than home brewers, but we also need that experience of home brewers where they brew a lot wider range of styles, so they get to see a lot of the cool new styles and stuff that are coming out and brew one or two.
Yeah.
While sometimes professionals, get stuck into brewing the same core beers 4 days a week. So having that mix of professionals and BJCP experienced judges is vital to this competition.
So then what it really boils down to is it's helping check and give feedback to the quality of the beers that everybody's putting in the market by a professional beer taster that is BJCP certified and the people that have been doing it for a long time. Mm-hmm. Now, we won't get into much of the scoring or anything like that, but on those sheets, the judges are able to give feedback about those specific beers. Now, I haven't asked you this question. Do the breweries that submit the beers get those feedback sheets back? So then they get the beer reviews back, and they are able to review it on that specific style of beer that they brewed and tweak it, make it better, which only ultimately serves the community of craft beer drinkers in a more engaging way.
Yeah, so we find that holding each other accountable is the best way to make our beer in this state better, and all around the country and the world too. That's why we have the Great American Beer Festival for American beers and World Beer Cup for all international styles. And have the more that professional brewers can keep giving each other feedback and working collaboratively to improve their craft, the better that beer will get for the end consumer.
Yeah.
The higher quality it will be for retailers that want it sitting on their shelves and moving off their shelves.
Or even bars and restaurants that the beers are in.
Yeah, the better beer that we can make, the better craft beer will be. So that's a big part of why we hold this competition.
For the breweries that ended up getting awarded a medal for the style of beer that they submit, what does that mean for that brewery and what they can say? Because I know I've been to different breweries around the Bay Area. I've seen the medals from years past, and some good friends of ours have some medals. But what does that mean for the brewery and maybe even the brewer? Since, like I said, you're the assistant brewer at Crooked Thumb. What does that mean for a brewery, and how does it translate to the customers that come into the breweries?
It's a sense of pride. Being awarded a medal for a beer that you've probably brewed 1,000 times, or maybe even a dozen times, or even once, is this. It's recognition, and it can be used by the brewery in marketing. We do allow the breweries to market with our imagery online and through their social media.
Oh, that's cool.
Follow us at Best Florida Beer. We'll start to feature a lot of those award-winning beers as we get past Brewers Ball. Ideally, I'd like to feature each beer, one medal-winning beer every week this year. Wanted to do that last year, ran out of time.
I can imagine you had a lot of beers last year too. That could be quite time-consuming.
We've gone from 96 beers at Brewers Ball in 2017. Last year was my first year running the competition in Brewers Ball. And we did 115 beers. And then this year, we should have somewhere north of 135 beers at Brewers Ball.
How do you find the space?
We'll just jam them in.
Okay.
And get more people to drink them.
That's excellent, man. So, so this is. And that's what I didn't understand before with the Brewers Ball. So this is the reason the Brewers Ball exists, is because of this competition. So over 800 and some odd beers are here. We're all filtering through to find the best ones, and then those will be announced at The Brewers Ball.
Yeah, so Brewers Ball is the awards ceremony for this competition.
Gotcha. And I've also heard you can drink quite a bit. I've been told everything, or you just bring your own cup. Is that the case?
Yeah, we'll supply some plastic cups, but bring your own plastic cup. The park doesn't allow glass.
Okay.
We have special cups from Fermented Reality for our VIPs that are going to be provided. So get your VIP tickets now.
Yes.
Those we got some great sponsors in My Box and Greaves Construction that are sponsoring a private VIP area. So you guys will get a shirt voucher, a cup from Fermented Reality. We got a bunch of great sponsors. East Coast Catering is going to cater some food. We're going to have a special beer in the VIP area just for you to celebrate with. And,
awesome.
And then you got 130 plus different beers to sample, and it's a free pour event. So you can just walk up and pour your own beer as much or as little as you want.
Oh my God.
With 138 beers, you've got almost 45 barrels of beer there. So
how many tickets go on sale?
We are planning for 1,500 this year.
Okay. So 45 barrels. So there's a good chance you're going to get quite a good amount of beer. So you should probably call off of work the next day.
Yes, absolutely. You're going to have a hangover.
Take an Uber.
Big performance.
Is that from past experience?
Oh, yes, very much.
That's excellent, man. So before we move away from Best Florida Beer, is there anything else about this competition that you personally feel connected with in any proportion, or is there anything else that you want people out there to know about Best Florida Beer?
So in my position as the Vice President of Commercial Brewing, I do talk a lot about the focus on the professional side.
Okay.
That is vital to our organization, and this competition and the awards ceremony are our major income. But we do have a homebrew side, and that is where we started. That's where our roots are, and we can't do these competitions without the support of the homebrew community. We are very much cognizant of that at all times. Our homebrew vice president, Paul Cerise, he was the president of Pinellas Urban Brewers Guild for several years, and he runs the homebrew competition, and that's our having the homebrew side and being part of the Florida homebrew circuit, being the major award ceremony. We're the last competition on the circuit.
Okay.
So that's where all those brewers that have been brewing for a year get awarded, is the homebrew awards ceremony. And it's such
I've never heard of it.
Important and vital aspect to have homebrewers as part of our base of volunteers and judges.
Okay.
And experienced personnel to run these competitions.
Well, I can tell you just from the 2 days that I've been helping out here, I mean, you guys have obviously put in way more work than I did, but it was a huge eye-opening experience, watching what goes on, what it entails to run an event like this, but the importance. So I definitely appreciate the opportunity to be part of this as a steward. Look forward to doing it again next year too.
Yeah,
so
thanks so much for your help. Yeah, we put about 6 months of planning into this. So we did about 2 or 3 months off after Brewers Ball to kind of like take a minute and then
get right back at it.
Right back into it, making changes from.
It's like getting ready for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly.
I can imagine.
It takes that much work. And stuff, so
that's awesome,
it's
man.
definitely worth it.
So before we wrap things up,
hey Paul, come here. You want to do a little segment with Paul?
Absolutely, bring him in. We got Paul coming in, guys. If he's all right with that.
Paul, we're doing a little podcast recording. Do you want to take a minute to speak about the homebrew side?
An unexpected guest, but please have a seat.
See what happens when you walk out here?
So I guess, Paul, you were one of the judges in this event, and did you do both days as well? Well, you were here yesterday morning, I remember, but
this Saturday and Sunday.
Okay, so you've tasted a lot of beer, and you don't have to tell me obviously what your favorite styles were, but what are some of the things about this event that you love the most, and what goes into preparing your palate to taste all these beers?
Gosh, I attended the Friday night sensory training here at Coppertail, and that really opened my eyes to kind of what to look for in the beers. So we went through probably about 14 different sensory trainings with different off flavors and smells, and help me kind of identify things that might be flawed in beers, but also beyond that, just going through and reading through the World Beer Cup guidelines and the BJCP guidelines, just kind of refamiliarizing myself with what's in the different styles that I would be judging this weekend. Really helped a lot.
We were talking quite a bit about the homebrew side. Paul here is the Vice President of Homebrew for Best Florida Beer. So
Gotcha.
I was hoping you could come in and talk for a minute or two about the importance of homebrewers and that knowledge base of this competition.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I think without homebrewing in general, we wouldn't be sitting here doing the judging for Best Florida Beer Pro today. Just watching how it's grown over 19, 20 years here in Florida, you look at how many homebrewers go professional each year, whether they work for a current pro brewery or they open their own brewery. Homebrewers are kind of like the lifeblood and kind of keep the pro community growing and allowing them to hire more staff to do more batches a day and things like that. So having homebrewers around, learning how to judge beer, I think is a good first step to becoming a pro brewer.
Okay.
But also,
so someone like myself as a home brewer, my next step is not just necessarily perfecting my beer on a bigger level, but becoming a certified judge in some sense, so that I can understand how to recognize the off flavors that are in my beer and perfect those. Is that basically what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. Trying to learn what the expectations of the industry are.
Okay.
Sitting down with professionals, I think I haven't moved myself beyond home brewing, but the one thing that helped me was actually coming to Best Florida Beer probably about 3 or 4 years ago and just doing the stewarding part of the competition. Sitting down with the judges, tasting alongside, or after the flights were over, tasting the beers that were left over, just to get a feel for, okay, this is what a professional brewer says, this is what a certified judge says, this is what I need to understand, about what they're tasting. And so I would taste the beer kind of alongside them and kind of develop a sense of what everybody's looking for in the beer.
See, and I did one competition myself a little while back, and I did my jalapeno IPA, which I don't know if you got to try when the Crooked Thumb event was going on last year. There was that homebrew competition. But anyway, I was given feedback that the jalapeno wasn't spicy enough, and the beer was not intended to be spicy. But I took that and I critiqued it a little bit, and I figured out how to make it a little more prevalent. So you are correct. These events, not just for homebrewers, but on a larger scale, go, and I think we said this earlier, to help better the beer and quality as a whole. So that's great, man. I guess what I wanted to know is if you had anything that you'd like to share about what you guys have up and coming for Crooked Thumb on the outside, or if you want to wrap it up with what to expect next from Best Florida Beer. Which direction would you like to go? Whatever you want to do.
With Best Florida Beer, I think it's incredibly important to keep giving back to our community of breweries and brewers on all levels. We're working towards having more sensory training across the state. We want to be more than just Tampa, Bay Area centric. We want to be, best Florida beer, not best Tampa Bay beer.
Gotcha.
So that's it's going to take some growth, and that's what we're constantly working towards.
Where can people go and sign up for sensory training for what you're speaking on?
I would make sure you follow us at Best Florida Beer on Facebook.
Okay.
That'll be the best way to get the best information. Make sure you click that See First button.
See first? Okay.
Because we are fantastic and you want to see us first. And that's where we'll post information about those events coming up soon.
That's excellent. Guys, is there anything else that you'd like to tell the good people out there in the world of craft beer?
Get your Brewers Ball tickets now.
Okay. And where can they do that at?
Through our website?
Yeah.
bestfloridabeer.org.
Go to bestfloridabeer.org. bestfloridabeer.org and get your Brewers Ball tickets now. Like he said earlier, there's about 1,500 tickets available. They're probably going to go very quickly, and it does take place the week of Florida Craft Beer Week, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Sunday, March 3rd at Waterworks.
It's a week after Hunapoo Day. Oh, it's the week before.
Yep.
Oh, so Florida, or the Brewers Ball kicks off Florida Beer Week.
Tampa Bay Beer Weeks.
Tampa Bay Beer Week, sorry.
Started by Ultimate Brewer, which is at Hidden Springs.
Okay.
And then Florida Brewers Guild Fest at Percy Harvey Park in Tampa.
Okay.
And then Brewers Ball at Waterworks Park.
Gotcha.
So,
But this one comes first.
no, we are the third one.
Oh, you're the third one. Gotcha. My mistake. My math is funny right now.
Quite all right. And then Hunapoo Day closes the whole thing.
Gotcha. Yeah, those are fun days too.
Yeah, I already have a hangover thinking about it.
There's so much. I think even St. Patrick's Day is somewhere in the mix. I don't know.
I think it's the week after.
March is just not a good time of the year for livers in general.
My liver is the real MVP.
There you go. Somebody out there make some T-shirts. My liver is the real MVP. Let's do that. It's been great talking with you guys again. Thanks for letting me do this because I hope to one day be a judge and maybe even be a brewer someday in a professional environment. But it's great to give feedback to the rest of the world, of the listeners out there that we have on our podcast. And with that, I thank you.
Very well.
All right.
Thank you.
This has been Brewboy 813 with Jason. And one more time, Jason and Paul. You guys have a great day. Cheers.
It sounded like overall like the dude really knew his stuff, and that's great. I mean, it's always fun to talk to people that really know their stuff and are passionate about talking about it.
Right.
Something I like you said, when we talked about the interview itself, when he gets passionate towards the end, you can just tell that he really, really appreciates the craft. So, but it just sounded like you guys had some great dialogue. It sounded like it was a great event, and obviously, next time there's an event that you can steward that you didn't invite me to, please invite me to it.
Okay. Well, I am signed up for the homebrewers one, which that was another thing.
Hell, Ryan, I didn't even know about that one.
I've only found out about it Sunday. So if you'd like to go, I can introduce you to some people.
I'd never like to go, Ryan. When is it? Of course I want to go.
Oh, when did they say that was? March 7th. Sunday, March 7th. And you're going to say, I can't go.
I can't go. And March 7th is not a Sunday, just so you know, it's a Thursday.
Really? April 7th.
Oh, I'm on the books then. Let's go.
April 7th.
Okay, let's do that.
This week sucks.
I don't know if it's this week or just you. There's one common denominator. I mean, in the week. Or
Week's been bad.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna join my fellow councillees and just jump off the bridge with them. Not really serious, by the way, people. Only kidding.
Don't you have like 1,000 beers that you took home from this event too? Like, let's make that happen.
Sure as shit feel like it. So I mean, they could have thrown it away. They can't really sell it. It's it was there was 850 beers to choose from. I'm not gonna tell you what I took because I don't even know. But man, they just opened up the cooler and we just rated it.
Are you gonna bring some on Friday so that we can drink some?
I mean, I thought about it.
What the hell?
Of course I'm going to bring it.
Man.
They're all Florida craft beers. We're celebrating Florida Craft Beer Day. It's not Florida Craft Beer Day if you don't have a lot of Florida craft beer.
For Pete's sake, my man.
Which we'll go ahead and tease this. Tim announced today on Facebook he got an email. You saw it. I'm sure you saw his Facebook post. Did you not?
What did it say?
You didn't see it?
No, what did it say?
You really didn't see it?
No, what did it say, Ryan?
He won one of the categories, or got a medal. I don't know if he won first overall. I don't know if they told him that. But he's in the finalist category for the miso jalapeno.
That's fantastic, and congratulations to Tim. I was telling Lausman actually that I swung by the brewery tonight to check out and just touch base about Friday. And so I had sent him a meme from the Jungle Book about prickly pear because the prickly pear beer that he makes I had never tried and I wanted to try it, and I tried it today and it was incredible. It tasted almost like a sour, but one that I could drink. It had a wonderful hazy kind of golden monkey almost color to it. It was just a phenomenal beer, so I loved it. But I've never had it before, and it is apparently one of the more popular beers there, beside like the Sunny Honey and some of the staples. But good for Tim. I like his beer, and I like that place, and I can't wait to go there on Friday and talk to all the good people that are gonna come out with us.
Absolutely. I was super proud to see that, and to hear that he was, like I said, I don't know if he won best overall or whatever in that category, but I know he's getting some recognition, and he will be he'll have to be now at the Brewers Ball, because only people that get a medal pour their beer at the Brewers Ball, and they poured that beer that they're notified for winning. So
Yeah, well, it sounds pretty fantastic, and again, I just want to get into and just touch on it briefly about Florida Craft Beer Day, because we again, we're behind schedule. We got to crush through some of this stuff, but Florida Craft Beer Day, as everybody knows, it's February 15th. We celebrate the day the Sunshine State opened its first locally owned and operated brewery in Ybor City. It was called Florida Brewing Company. It served people like the cigar rollers of Ybor City, Teddy Roosevelt, and his Rough Riders after the Spanish-American War. We've been celebrating this for now 4 years strong, and the great mayor, Bob Buckhorn himself of the city of Tampa, actually honors us by establishing this as a legitimate observance of the city and the importance of this, not holiday, but craft beer in general, that it's brought to the great state of Florida as well as the Tampa Bay area, having the Florida Brewing Company there. So this year, we are celebrating with Tim and the great folks at Craft Life. We've got about 95 people on Facebook that are possibly going to come out there, or at least say that they're engaging with the event. So I'd love to see almost 100 of you there. If that happens, that place will fall to the ground because it could probably only hold about 30 people, but that's fine. We'll deal with it when we get there. Seating will be limited. So please do come out Friday, February 15th, 7 o'clock sharp. We will start the show. There will be free beer samples there. There will be some great industry leaders. We're going to talk to people that are on the commercial craft beer side, on the hop growing in Florida side, home brewers, real brewers, people that are selling their beer on the street. It's going to be very interesting. So come on out, have a great time, and we will see you at Florida Craft Beer Day 2019. If you want any more information, www.floridacraftbeerday.com, or join the celebration by simply hashtagging FLCBD on any social media, and you'll get it thrown into the pot. If you can't join us, at least raise a glass at 8 o'clock in the state of Florida, PM on Friday, to just cheers us with a simultoast. We always do the simultoast. We do that for those that can't join us, and it's really, again, just to celebrate beer in our great state. That is all. Boys, anything else? Ryan?
It's a great event.
No, I was just thinking, I'm glad you said 8 o'clock, because a couple people that I've spoken to think it's the same as last year, which was 7 o'clock. So I need to correct them, or not correct them, let them know that we corrected it to 8.
Well, we will definitely start at 7 o'clock, but we will not simultoast until 8 o'clock. And
that's what I mean. The simultoast. Yeah. I told Christian at Brew that I think it was 7 o'clock. So I'll correct myself. Yes.
Yeah, please do. Actually, I spoke to those guys recently because they're going to speak on a panel that I'm moderating for the Tampa Bay History Center about craft beer in the Bay Area. So that should be interesting too, but love the Brugels. So we'll talk about them later. Anything else, boys?
No, I'm good.
I have a lot of beer in my refrigerator. That's about it.
You won't come Saturday morning, but let's talk about that then. The next piece. So moving on to our geek news segment, drink it on in, send it back. Again, I know we were going to be out of time. I knew there was a lot going on. There was a little bit of Star Wars news that popped out this week. And so we're just going to get through a couple things here, Ryan. I don't even know if you had a chance. Obviously, you can't see the notes, but there was a slew of pictures that came out. So, Laos fan, I'm gonna rely on you for this one. Just some previous or some potentially spoiler-ish content. So we won't go into the details of it. Again, we've got some photos that we're going to just briefly talk about, and then there's some story bits. So I will say when it's safe to get back in here, and I'll post it below in the description. However, at this point, I would just be leery of potential spoilers. But again, with episode 9, essentially there are no spoilers because nobody knows what's going on, and these are all rumors. But Mr. Lausman, were you able to take a look at the picture that I threw up there in the notes?
I was, absolutely. It was very intriguing.
Yeah, it is. There's some interesting stuff. There's like a new Lando costume, which looks exactly like his old costume. You've got Rey in all white. You've got You've got a couple new aliens and a Kylo Ren helmet that looks like it was put together with a red type of Bondo. I'm not sure why, but that's a thing.
That's a thing.
Yep. Top left, my favorite. There's a little robot with a wheel. It's like a separatist robot with a wheel, like just the head of the separatist robot on a wheel.
Yeah, it looks like the separatist like because they specifically had those long eyes or whatever on their little cone heads. But yeah, he looks adorable. Well, one wheel.
Yeah, apparently his name is Dio, and he's going to be BB-8's new best friend. And I've seen this now on 2 different posts, so I'm guessing that this is probably legitimate. I hate that design. The wheelie robot is fine, but dude, we've done it. We've got BB-8. I'm sick of it. I think it's stupid.
So what did you want? Like some guy walking around on 3 weird legs where he's like, oh boy, stairs.
Why would he have 3 legs? That would be very weird.
I don't know. Why do some of them have 2? And I don't come up with this stuff.
I don't know. So anyways, yes, there's a new friend named Dio for BB-8, whatever. I don't know. There's a couple dirty smuggler looking outfits. There's like the one with like cape that looks like what Lando wore when he was infiltrating Jabba's lair, which is really just a helmet with the thing in front of his face. If you were able to see Lando once, you would have immediately seen him again, even with a thing on his face. I don't get it. I
don't get it either. And even go to that particular picture, it's labeled as new alien, and I'm like, that's not new at all. Like,
unless it is. Maybe it is.
No, it's not. It's in that armor, anyways. And what I presume to be the people who wear it, they were in the Clone Wars, and they were also in Solo. So no, it's not new alien. But so, I mean, just a slight bit of discredit to something that's he labeled to be like totally up in the air. So yeah.
So there's one that's a young Mon Cal on the left hand side there. And again, it's hard to see because you guys don't have the link. But if you just Google leaked episode 9 footage or photos, you'll see it. He's wearing like a light bright, and I don't know if that's like he's in jail or something. I don't really know.
Yeah, it's like a flattened Rubik's Cube is what he's wearing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a better iteration than a light bright, because I don't know who knows what those are anymore, but I do. So
everyone from the 90s.
Yeah, that's true. Well, those millennials. So yeah, then you've got.
Well, yeah. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say you skipped over one of my favorites. Is the letter A is an alpha. He looks like one of the trolls that they got rid of when they redid the Norway ride at Epcot. He does look like that with a mustache.
Yeah, he's a mustached, small-faced man with bird feet and 3 fingies on one hand. I don't get that at all.
Yep.
But that is weird. Yeah, moving on down. There's a reverse hornman. Do you see that? Letter M, I think, is what it is. Horn pilot. Very, very discreet.
How does he wear a helmet? No one knows.
No one knows. Looks like he pooped his pants currently and/or indefinitely.
Might be an ongoing look for him.
That's probably is. Maybe it depends. Tie-in, not sure. I don't know. There's just a lot of weird aliens. And then, do you want to talk about the bottom right?
Old cone tits.
Yeah. So on the very bottom, in fact, he's not even labeled in the description. But he's like a. It's like, so like when Ursula from The Little Mermaid takes your soul and leaves you as like a little unshelled crustacean person. Imagine that with, to your point, Losman, cone tits again and penguin feet, and then spikes behind his head. Is that a good description of what this guy looks like?
Yep, I would say that's bang on. That's right on the money.
So Ryan, you didn't actually have the opportunity to see this, but did that?
No, I didn't see it, but I was just going to say from that description, it sounds terrifying.
Terrifying is a great way. He's very sad. He's just a sad, or she. It's 2019, or a very, very long time in a galaxy far away.
It's got a really smug look on its face, so I already hate it. And so it's like, I don't like it. Need clothes.
I don't like it at all, but it is something. So, So you got that. All right. So moving on. So we had a couple other story bits that were that we could talk through, and these were literally again. This is the world of Reddit. Thank you very much. We'll spend 5 minutes just blowing through these, and then we can call it a night, ladies and gentlemen. But again, this person here was quoted of attending one of the Star Wars marketing presentations by Disney, and if you recall, Bob Iger had a call with the Disney stockholders last week where he was talking about a lot of these things. He didn't go into detail in great detail with Star Wars on that particular call, but some of the things mentioned here go into great or parallel with things that were either rumored from his call or originating from the call or something like that. And the first one I wanted to talk about, which is not even on here, is the title, the proposed title. This is the rumored title of episode 9. And Ryan, I'll kick it to you first. Well, first off, you saw Force Awakens, Ryan. What do you think? So watching the movie, what do you think that title brought? Was that a great title for it, or was that not on point at all?
I mean, it's already been awoke for so many years. I mean, it had to
it was a
awaken again.
30-year resurgence, right? They couldn't say
I get
Force
it.
Awoken again as the title.
They could have said again, but
they could have. To your point. But like when you hear like Attack of the Clones or Return of the Jedi, I mean those titles pretty much Star Wars wise nailed the movie, good or bad, whatever you thought of it.
Okay, I see where you're going with that. Yeah.
So then The Last Jedi came along. What do you think about that? Title wise, just a title perspective.
It led you to believe that they were down to The Last Jedi until the kid kicked the broom up, and there you go.
Okay, Broom Kid, bringing Broom Kid.
Broom Kid, yeah.
Lossman, what were your thoughts on the titles, and then I'll reveal the rumored title.
Which, by the way, the Force balances itself out. So there you go.
It's funny you say that, old man. You're the segue king of Chicago. But go ahead, Lossman.
Yeah. So my thoughts on the previous names, The Last Jedi. I doubt it. Like just when I heard that, I was like, probably not. Like I don't think it sort of happen randomly, like sometimes. So didn't like that one. And then The Force Awakens, I'm like, where did it go? Like it wasn't not that it went anywhere. Like all the Ewoks have been doing their little like rave dances with their glow sticks and the trees and stuff. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't a fan of either of those names. I do have a guess at the upcoming name.
Please.
What I hope it is. It would be Star Wars 9, Cone Tits Jubilation.
No.
The Jubilation Cone Tits.
Don't focus on that one.
It's the I don't know. He's got to be something. He's got to be the disparage of Wheelie Droid. How about that? Is that better?
No, I don't think so. I don't think that's it at all. I don't think that's what it is, period. What I've heard, and this is again from several, rumored sources, it's going to be something along the lines of the balance of the Force.
Boo.
Lame.
Boo. Okay. All right. I kind of like that.
Why?
Because I like it more than something like The Reign of Darkness or Rebellion Reborn or The Last Hope. I think that's stupid. Order of Ren, A New Order Rises, Son of Darkness. I mean, all these kind of suck. Spark of Hope. I think they're all dumb besides the balance. I like that one.
What if it was just a really funny one where it was like, Wheelie Droid takes the stairs?
Neil deGrasse Tyson shits a bird.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I mean, if that happens, he will have a problem with it because that's what he does. But I don't know, man.
Or what about like Kylo unrobed this time? Because
that sounds like a porno, and I'm pretty sure that's already in production, if not produced.
Another shirtless scene in our future, boys. Jesus.
Is he hot? People think he's hot.
I didn't say he was hot by saying that scene. I just said we'll have to tolerate it.
Whoa! Your tone. You were up an octave, my friend. I'm just trying to understand for the ladies out there, or men. It's 2019. It's fine. If it is Adam Driver a sexy man, or is he just like a? I don't know. Is he? Is he hot? Is he not? I'm not sure.
Maybe it depends on if he talks with the mask on or mask off.
If he's got mask on, he's it for me. I'll take the mask
shirtless and mask on.
Got it. Oh yeah, all day. Would you Johnny Depp smooch him? Is the question, Ryan? Bringing it back.
Fuck no.
Episodes ago.
Fuck no.
Okay.
There's a big fuck no on that one.
Only a Depp smooch. It's all. Oh jeez.
Only a Depp smooch.
All right. Well, I did have just a few more things. Lousman, anything else before I just rip through these fast leak story bits?
Nope. Don't think you can top that.
Can't top the Depp smooch.
Galaxy's Edge. They talked in great detail about that. They featured that the Flight of the Falcon ride will be a 6-person interactive ride, which I think we knew. We weren't sure it was going to be interactive or 6 people. but it would include a pilot, a co-pilot, gun turret, ship repair, and a couple others, which would be very interesting. And if you mess up the ship, you will pay for it later. Galaxy Adventures, these are like little snippets for kids. Ryan, you've got kids. Lausman, we have nephews and nieces. I want to watch some of these with them because it introduces the Star Wars galaxy to kids at a very young age in a very easily to consume manner. And it doesn't give anything away. So like Darth Vader's a bad guy, Leia's the good guy, BB-8 is a funny guy, R2-D2 is a robot. I mean, these things happen in the story and they show it to you in a way that doesn't ruin the movies, but still lets you enjoy it with kids that necessarily don't get the movies. Because it's hard for a kid to watch a movie from 1977. I get that.
Yeah, no, of course.
Yeah, so I think that's really cool. I'm thinking Cam. We got to watch it with Cam. Jedi Fallen Order, that is coming out in November, which is the first time I've heard that. This video game will take place 5 years after Revenge of the Sith. So this follows a Padawan whose name is Cal, and he survived Order 66. His mentor is a woman named Siri, and it basically is their story about kind of guiding him through his journey, which would be fun. I would love that. I just want a freaking good video game for Star Wars.
Yeah.
On the call that I referenced, Bob Iger said that, frankly, they make shitty video games, which is why EA Games is making their games, and he's happy with the way that EA Games is doing it. No one else is, but that's good for you, Bob. The Mandalorian, they showed a sizzle reel during this meeting of where Favreau was talking about how excited he was. Showed a ton of artwork. Looks very good. It looks like the Mandalorian is going to come in contact with a child that might shape the story, and they'll follow that relationship through the season or seasons that we see the Mandalorian, so that's cool. And then they gave away a little bit of detail about Dio, that sidekick of BB-8, who's the weird battle droid head on a wheelie guy that I hate. So wheel droid. Yeah, we'll call that. That's fine. They mouse droids, wheel droids, why not?
And ball droid.
And ball droid, right? But of course, yeah. So that's all of the little teasers that we have. But again, boys, I know how far over where we are, so I will go ahead and wrap it up. Lausman, do you have anything else to add to this? And then we'll go to the Ryan. The Ryan. We'll go to Ryan.
Go straight to the Ryan. It's like a space on a Monopoly board.
I didn't realize I could unmute myself. I guess I'm out of the penalty box now. No, I don't have anything.
Just breathe into the mic. We'll put you back.
I'm actually sitting here trying to think of like different Star Wars names. I don't think we ever really did that segment justice. So, but
what would you call it?
Star Wars Empire's Destruction. Wait, they had something else.
The Empire is a noose.
Empire Fallen. Empire Fallen.
But the Empire's already fallen.
But it could fall again.
How can it fall again? It was never set back up.
Well, there was
Empire Pick Back Up and then Empire Fallen.
which one was that? What's the sequel?
It's a two-parter.
There was a Return of the Jedi, so they had to have gone somewhere to have returned, right?
Yeah.
After they awoken.
That was before they awoken, but it's
is Leia gonna be like a Jedi because she's got the Force?
You called her Leia.
Leia? Shit.
Well, that's the thing. So we do know we do know that Episode 9 is going to take place about a year after Episode 8. So has Leia been training Rey? Has Rey been training Leia? We won't know. I think that's doubtful. I don't know what role she's going to play, but I assume when Star Wars Celebration rolls around, we'll have a little bit more information.
Really not good on these Star Wars bits, guys. I'm sorry.
It's okay, buddy. Yeah. We know. This isn't Dragon Ball Z. We got it.
Wow.
With that said, where, Ryan, can the good kids find you?
You can find me at Craft Life on Friday night, celebrating Florida Craft Beer Day. Or if you're not the type to venture out and enjoy life and all of that it has to offer, you can find me on Instagram posting pictures about Florida Craft Beer Day at Craft Life at BrewedBoy813, and also on Twitter at BrewedBoy813, and on our Craft Brews and Geek News Facebook page. Because if you're not at Craft Life, you're probably just going to see photos of Craft Life.
I am really, really excited for the Craft Life.
Absolutely.
Florida Craft Beer Day. And I'm wondering if we should get on a little bit later. But hopefully we'll still be there, and we'll just have a great time and just roll it through.
Later than that, and we're going to be too hammered to actually communicate.
That's what I'm thinking, and we got a show to put on, so that'll be good. All right. Well, Mr. Lawson, where can the good kids find you?
Well, I just realized I have like not near as many ways, not near as many facets, but I can be found on Twitter at Mr. Lossman, and that's it. Yay!
No, that's good, man. I was just literally at Craft Life today talking about how much I hate social media, but it is a necessary evil. I really just use it for people's birthdays and to post links to you guys and to our great friends in the Craft Brews Geek News Facebook group, which is really simple. If you just Google that, or if you're on Facebook and you just hit that up, trust me, I don't love Facebook by any means. I don't even like it, but I do love talking to everybody in that group because it's a great group. Talk about geek news, talk about beers. A couple people on there post a beer every now and again just because they're drinking it and having a good time. I always have a great time on that group, and if you want to join, we only limit it so we can kick people out that aren't cool. However, 90 people deep now, we don't have to kick out anybody. Haven't had to kick out a single person. So we enjoy you guys there in that group, and if you're not in that group, please join the group. Craft Brews Geek News on Facebook. It's really, really a fun time. Anything else, boys?
I was just going to say, did you see the little article that I posted there just a little while ago?
Absolutely not.
About the new Zelda game that they're making for the Switch?
No, but if you have information on that, I need it immediately because I love Zelda.
You're going to have to go to the Craft Brews and Geek News Facebook page to see that, my friend.
All right.
I would just summarize it real quick. They have remade the 1993 Game Boy game for the Switch, and it looks freaking incredible.
Yep. Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to look at this. I'm looking at it right now. It looks incredible. In fact, I'm going to post a picture on here, too, of the prickly pear that I had at Craft Life tonight. So, boys, I thank you, and I appreciate you. And as we say at the end of every podcast, Mr. Lousman.
Oh, bother.
That's a Pooh Bear / Lady Grantham episode. Or
I know where you're going. I know where you're going.
Yep.
I know.
Well, we have been talking about it before.
The only person that's going to know what that reference is for Lady Grantham is going to be me.
No, boy. Yes. Good night, everyone.
You've been listening to the official podcast of the Brewmasters Club, Craft Brews and Geek News. Grab a beer with the guys and be sure to subscribe to catch additional content. Add this podcast to your favorite RSS feed or iTunes. Chat with the guys on Twitter at Brewmasters Club and Facebook and online at www.brewmasters.club. Cheers!